Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Steve Hunt, and I'm the director of the School of Communication here at Illinois State University. I appreciate the opportunity to share a little information about myself with you, and I thank you for the time and for your interest in the School of Communication. So where did I get my degrees and what sparked my interest? My undergraduate degree came from Emporia State University, where I started as a political science major and then changed to communication, but I'll tell you more about that in a minute. My master's degree came from the University of Northern Iowa, and I did my doctorate at Southern Illinois University at Carbondale and finished that in 1998. So what sparked my interest? Well, there were a couple of things. One, I was a debater. So I was on the debate team at Emporia. And I mentioned that I started in political science. I love political science. And my initial idea was, hey, let's go to law school, right? Let's get into law. That'll be really cool and fun. And I can continue to argue and debate. So that seemed to make a lot of sense. But in about my sophomore year, I had the opportunity to take a Black rhetoric class that was taught in the Department of Communication. And I'll tell you, it changed everything for me. Because the faculty member who taught that was absolutely engaging and amazing. Because I learned in communication classes, you could still talk about things like politics. And it was just so much more energizing and exciting than, not to cast any dispersions on political science, I enjoyed that too, but that changed everything. And then I mentioned debate. I was still thinking I'd go to law school after I finished my undergraduate degree, but I had the opportunity to keep coaching at Northern Iowa. And when I got to Northern Iowa, I met one of the most important mentors in my life there, Dr. Melissa Bill, who did a lot of work with the introductory communication course, which I also had the opportunity to teach while I was there. And that, again, it changed everything. It's like law school is out. Let's go get a doctorate. This teaching communication is really cool. In terms of my career, I mentioned that I'm the director of the School of Communication. When I started here in 1998, I worked with Dr. Sherry Simons as the co-director of our introductory public speaking course. That's part of our Gen Ed program. Everybody that comes through ISU is required to take that course. So it's a very, very large program that we do, which was great. I loved it. We did a lot of research together and it was a great time. After about 10 years of that, I had the opportunity to be the associate director of the School of Communication, which I did, as well as being the graduate coordinator for the School of Communication. And then I had the opportunity to step into the role of director of the School of Communication. So that's kind of my career path and how I got to where I am now. What classes do I teach? In the time that I've been here, I've taught a lot, a lot of different kinds of topics, but in the last few years, it's really focused on courses in persuasion. So I do teach the undergraduate and graduate courses in persuasion. And at the graduate level, I've also taught a couple of different times the graduate seminar in the pedagogy of civic and political engagement. Speaking of that, my area of research really parallel tracks. So I do work in instructional communication, which looks at how instructors at any level from K-12 all the way through college use communication to teach, and communication education or communication pedagogy, which is specific to the discipline of communication. So what are the tactics, strategies, the knowledge that faculty in communication use to teach communication specifically? Now, I mentioned civic engagement. So in the last 15 years, I've been very involved in a couple of initiatives. The American Association of State Colleges and Universities has an American Democracy Project, and I've done work with that. So my research interest is still in kind of instructional and communication education, but with a focus on civic and political engagement, how we teach those things. I also, a few years ago, had an opportunity to participate in a really fascinating research project with a person that runs the Institute for Democracy and Higher Education at Tufts University. And we were doing a national study looking at campus climates for political learning. And I'm telling you, I probably don't have to tell you, this is a really interesting time to be looking at campus climates and political learning. I also do a great deal of research in the area of persuasion. And in fact, I'm really proud that Dr. Kevin Meyer, who is a faculty member here in the School of Communication, and I are just completing a new textbook on persuasion. So looking forward to bringing that one out, getting that done, and using that in the classroom, hopefully sometime in the future. Advice for incoming students. You got to get involved. And I know the COVID thing makes that difficult, but even under COVID, it's been amazing to me to see how our registered student organizations have continued to function, and they continue to meet and they continue to do activities. How our television station has continued to run. Yeah, they've got to do things a little bit differently, but it's still going on. Our student newspaper, our student radio station, they're all running. And I'm really hopeful as we move forward. The future is going to be very, very bright, because with the distribution of the vaccine, we're going to be able to come back in more face-to-face, and that's going to happen sooner rather than later. So all of the traditional opportunities that I would be telling incoming students to be thinking about: study abroad, working in registered student organizations, thinking about those student media outlets that I mentioned before, participating in honors, homecoming. We're going to have homecoming, communication week. We're going to have a virtual one in spring 2021, but we'll get back to face on that in the future. There are many, many opportunities for students in the School of Communication, and I urge you right away to take advantage of that. So the last question that I was asked about was, talk about some fun facts about you. Well, I don't really know that I have a lot of fun facts about me. I've got a green eye and a blue eye. I don't know that that's especially fun. One of the things that I'm proud of, I mentioned that Persuasion book earlier. Dr. Kevin Meyer is my co-author on that project. He was my debate partner when we were at Emporia State University. So it's been really cool for me to have him be a faculty member here in the school, and for us to continue to be able to work together. Again, thank you all very much for taking the time to explore the School of Communication. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly if there's anything any questions that I can answer or any information that I can provide. Thanks, everybody.